Hey, what's up, you guys? Marty Schwartz here from GuitarJams.com. I was thinking of a little more intermediate, bluesy, fusion-y kind of lesson. Hadn't done one of these in a while. It's kind of funny because these were like the only videos I was making before actually Guitar Jams. I was like making these kind of more advanced soloing kind of lessons, but not that they're super advanced, but just like some more advanced concepts. Anyway, I'm going to zoom in and just show you kind of some extra things you can add, including a new chord that I think you'll dig a lot, and then just a couple arpeggios that I think you can start trying to get into your normal kind of bluesy playing. So we'll do that. Also, I have a ton of mode lessons and stuff at GuitarJams.com. You can try the website out for free for 3 days. And, link right down there, link for other stuff too. I appreciate that. But let's zoom in and I'll show you a couple little concepts. All right, here we go. I'm going to combine a rhythm and soloing concept together because what I was realizing is, especially with YouTube, a lot of people are practicing their soloing with jam tracks, which I do think is a good thing. But also, I think it's even stronger for your overall musicianship if you can be able to play really good rhythm. I mean, really, guitar ultimately is more of a rhythm instrument than a soloing instrument, even though soloing's the most fun. I get that. But what I wanted to show you is just a really cool, funky chord that you can play instead of A7 or this A7. And then the one that I love, it would be the A9 chord, which would be right here. The root is on the 12th fret of the A string. We're talking about kind of like the blues world here a little bit, or funky blues, soul, fusion, jam band kind of stuff. But basically, that dominant chord is what it's called, like a dominant 7. You can play a 9 chord instead, like that. But it is a heavily used, dare I say, overused chord. So here's another one right in the same area that you can play instead of this chord, and it's a little, not as used as much, and you can just kind of mix up some of your chord knowledge and get a different sound, but fulfilling the same need, that bluesy, funky kind of vibe. So here's what we're going to do. We're not even going to play the root in this chord anymore, because this is a great chord for when you're in a band setting, you have a bass player or other other instruments. You don't need to get that low root in there. But the cool thing about that is that when we just take the root out, even though it's still implied or it's still being played by another instrument, when you take it out, you have an extra finger free to play other colors instead. But so I identify this chord, and we're going to just call it A7. But I'm going to identify it by the root on the A string. So that's how I'm finding the chord. So instead of this, or instead of that, we're going to play this chord. And you can combine it with that other 9 chord. Okay, so that's the chord. It's going to be middle finger on the major third, or the 11th fret of the D string. So we're finding the root, and then middle finger's going there. Ring finger is going right next to it, a half step higher on the 12th fret of the G. So tonally, that's the major third of A, and that's the dominant 7, or the minor 7 of A. And then the index finger right here is actually the root. So the root's not the lowest note, but we do have a root in there, which is the A note. Okay, and then pinky on the 12th fret of the high E. Okay, so I was building a basic rhythm off of that, and I had another bass line going. Just, getting a low A in there. But then the other thing I wanted to show you, a lot of those licks I was doing, I was combining elements of the just straight, A minor pentatonic scale. And licks that I know in that vocabulary. The blues scale as well, which is just adding the flat fifth. Okay, but then also the A major pentatonic is another piece. Combining them together, which a lot of that just has to do with hammering up the major third and then still thinking of it as the blues scale. Okay, and then the other one would be the Mixolydian. And I'm not going to break down all these scales to teach them to you. I'm just showing you the concepts behind them and behind what I was playing in the beginning there. It takes a long time to combine them all together in a way that sounds like it's flowing. When I first started doing it, it sounded like I was doing a little bit of Mixolydian right in that part, and then, okay, now I'm doing a blues lick. Okay, now I'm doing the major pentatonic right there. But the more you do it, the more you can start to get those ideas to flow together. Okay, so you could kind of consider it, the land of A7, which could mean A Mixolydian, it could be in the A blues scale, it could be the A major pentatonic as well. You can mix them all together. The other thing I want to show you, though, when I say A Mixolydian, that means that it's coming from a major key. And A Mixolydian, which is an A7 as the tonal center, actually comes from the D major scale. Don't think too much about why or how or have questions. I'm just making a statement that the A Mixolydian scale is all the same notes as the D major scale. So if I'm playing over an A7 kind of groove, I can play any arpeggio from the key of D major, and it should theoretically work over that progression. I'm going to show you the ones I was using. And so, in other words, you could just play a jam track in A or a jam in A and use all your A blues licks that you have, but then try and get some of these ideas in there. And the first one I did was a D major arpeggio, which is 7 on the G, 7 on the B, 5 on the high E, and then the major 7, which is a stretch, and it's going to be the 9th fret on the high E. Now, if you just wanted to play 3 notes of that arpeggio, you could do the high E and the B. Or you could do, you know, the G, B, and high E. Or you could just do 2 notes. Oh, sorry. Or you could do these 2. And then try and get creative with that little set of notes over an A7 groove. And just hear what it sounds like. Okay, so it's just one choice. The next one up is going to be, we're going to look at it as an E minor 7 arpeggio, which would be 9th fret on the G, 8th fret on the B, 7th fret on the high E, and then the 10th fret on the high E. Okay, so that's another one. But then combine now both of those together. See that? And then somehow, you know, you got to learn to make it sound like music. By, you know, getting some of those other blues licks in there and whatnot, but you just got to start playing. You got to start using. See that? So I used a little bit of it with a blues lick. So I was going bluesy. Then a little bit. See, you gotta just sneak it in. Sneak it in. Okay, the next one is really cool because it's just the exact same thing up a whole step. So it'd be ring finger on the 11th fret of the G. 10, 9, 12. So this could be considered an F sharp minor 7 arpeggio. E minor 7 arpeggio and a D major 7 arpeggio. Now, in this blues setting where you're playing over like a 9 chord or a 7 chord, it's great because you can try and get these, try and work on these other scales like modes and arpeggios and things. But if you ever get lost or stuck, you can go right back to your minor pentatonic scale. And that's just a good approach, I think, to trying to get some more sophisticated sounds. If you're like kind of bored with your normal pentatonic stuff, this is kind of a good way to just try and sneak little things in there. I was kind of being heavy-handed and obvious with those arpeggios, but there are just new sounds that you can get out of kind of a blues setting, and which is always good. It's always good to keep expanding and getting more ideas. So try and come up with a little groove with that new chord, and then use some of those ideas to get some new use some of those ideas to hopefully get out of a rut or add a spark or a little new inspiration. So good luck with that. All right, that was it. Remember, you can try more modal lessons out at guitarjams.com and that link down there. And thanks for hanging out. Hope you got something from that. And I also hope to see you in another lesson real soon. Take care.